Hey y'all, Candace here from Little Steps Big Happy. I talk about health and fitness for moms. So today's video is I wanted to share with you a quote that I read in a book, and I think it's very, very useful for times that you're feeling overwhelmed, frustrated. It's kind of that feeling where you're like, here's this goal I have. Maybe I want to run a race. I want to lose weight, right? I want to start eating better. I really want to get I really want to get good at this, right? I want to figure this out, but it feels overwhelming, or I just don't know where to start, or this is so hard, or there's so many things that you need to master to get it done. I see this a lot with people who are either like trying to eat healthy, or people who are like starting jujitsu is another place that I see it a lot. Is they come in, they try a class out, they're like, oh, this looks so cool. I really want to do this. I need to get in better shape first, or I need to learn how to do this first. Like they come in and they want to know how to do it all, and they want to be good at it immediately. And that's cool and all, but it's not realistic. And this is true especially for health and fitness goals. Like when you want to eat better, you're not magically able to eat better. When you want to be in better shape, you're not just there. And a lot of us can get very impatient and frustrated with the gap between where we feel like we are and where we want to be. And what I see all the time is that frustration or that overwhelm really prevents you from even trying, right? Or you try for a minute and then you stop because it feels too hard or it feels too difficult. And so many people want to get better. They want to get fit. They want to lose weight. They want to get in better shape. They want to eat better, right? You want to do all these things and you really want to. But that gap between like where you think you are and where you think you should be to even try, you don't know how to like bridge that, right? Like, how do I get past that? How do I get over that? And this was something that I kind of struggled with too, is in order to eat better, I got to do all the things, right? I have to have the perfect meal prep. I have to cook everything from scratch. They have to be the healthiest meals. They have to taste good. My family has to eat them. I have to eat them, all of that. And when you look at where you want to go and everything as this huge thing, it can be so overwhelming. It can be really almost defeating because you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to figure all that out. Or all of that is so much, or I don't have time to do all that. God, time is a huge thing, right? As a mom, there's never enough time to get all the things done. And so when your goal looks so big and so overwhelming and so much, it's very easy to just be like, not today. Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe when my kids start back in school. Maybe when we get used to being back in school. Maybe when we figure out this carpool thing, Maybe when I have more time. Maybe when I'm sleeping better. Maybe when the baby stops nursing. Maybe when, right? All the things. It's so easy to get sucked into the maybe when, because these things can feel so big. So, the quote that I heard, and I wrote it down, and I thought it was really good. It's from a book called The Practice, and it is, the only way to be successful is to begin. The only place to begin is where you are. And I love, love, love that, because we're all looking for success, right? But a lot of times we think we need to be capable before we can have the success, right? Like, in order to run a race, I gotta be a good runner. But I'm not a good runner. And so I don't necessarily, I don't wanna go try running until I'm a good runner. But you don't get better at running until you run, right? The only place you can begin is where you are. So a lot of times we think, I need to be better at this thing before I can do it, but you don't get better at it unless you practice. And learning how to eat better, learning how to exercise regularly, learning how to lose weight, all of those things require practice. Nobody is magically good at this, okay? Like, my first meal prep wasn't amazing. The first time I tried to lose weight, the second, the third, the fourth time I tried to lose weight, wasn't very successful. But I only got to the point where I learned how to do it for me because I kept trying. I had to start in that place where I didn't know how to do it, and I was doing it wrong, and I wasn't doing it right, and there were things that I tried that worked, but there were a lot of things I tried that didn't. That was the place I had to start. That's the only place to start, is where you are. You can't start where you wish you were, where you hope you are, where you want to be one day, right? Like, the only place you can start is where you are at right now. So if you want to get physically fit, the only place you have to start is your current fitness level. That's it. So you can't do workouts that are too hard for you. You can't do workouts that are above your ability level. You have to do the ones that fit where you are. But when you start, that's where you get to the road to success. That's where you start making progress. Is the only way to get there is to begin. And the only place you can begin is where you're at. So if you want to meal prep, but you don't really know how to cook very well, or you don't know how to meal plan, that's where you start. You start with, okay, first I'm just going to practice planning meals. And if that feels crazy, I'm just going to plan breakfasts. You know what I mean? If that feels overwhelming, I'm going to sit down this morning and just plan my meals for today. And that's where I'm going to start. And then as you learn that skill, you can learn the next one. Okay, cool. So I did my meals today and that was great. And so I'm gonna try again tomorrow. And once I do that for a little while, I'm like, okay, cool, I got this. Maybe I'll try planning breakfast for the week, planning snacks for the week, planning dinners for the week. Like whatever that next step feels for you, that's you move on to. And then we're like, okay, I can plan like a pro. And okay, now I'm gonna practice adding in new recipes. I'm gonna try, getting better at cooking. And it's okay, now I know how to plan, I know how to cook. I'm gonna start meal prepping snacks, and then lunches, and then breakfasts, and then dinners. And then you look up 6, 7, 8 months later and you can do it all, right? But it all starts with being okay with starting where you're at and not judging yourself and not, oh, I should be doing all the things and I can't believe I can't do this and I don't want anybody to see me. Like I know a lot of women who hesitate to join maybe group fitness classes that they think they would enjoy because they don't want other people to see their current fitness level. But I'm gonna tell you right now, it won't get better if you don't work on it. You know what I mean? So if those are the only classes you like, but you hate people seeing you, something somewhere's got to give. Either you got to start working at home so you can get to the physical fitness level that you feel comfortable exercising with other people, or you got to get over that and realize that the only way you're going to get better is if you practice. The only place you have to start is where you are at. And so I really think that this is really kind of crucial too for like moms when it comes to time too, because a lot of us don't apply it to this. We really think ability level, right? Like that's what starting where you're at. But sometimes starting where you're at applies to time too. If you don't have time for a huge meal prep, what do you have time for? Ask yourself that. What do you have time for? If my goal is to make healthy eating easier for myself, but I ain't got 4 hours to spend in the kitchen every week, what do you have time for? Do you have time to just plan your meals? Do you have time to maybe just pre-cook the meats? Do you have time to chop the vegetables? What do you have time for, right? Start where you're at in terms of how much time you have. Don't just dismiss all the things because it feels like too much, And it's so easy for everything to feel like too much. Believe me, oh my goodness, I probably have this conversation with myself once a week. But it's so helpful. And every time I do this, it helps me is what do I have time for? What can I do? What is available for me? Because again, none of it will get better if we don't start working on it, if we don't start practicing on it, if we don't start somewhere. And the only place you have to start is where you're at in terms of your ability, in terms of your knowledge, in terms of your time, in terms of your energy, right? All those things can improve, but it never will improve if we're not willing to start. So ask yourself today, what can I do? What do I have time for? Where can I start? And again, there's no shame, there's no blame, there's no judgment, right? It might not be where you want to be, but that's okay, because when you acknowledge it and then you make the steps to move forward, that means you're not going to stay here, right? Like when I wanted to get better at running, I could not run. I was nowhere near close to it, right? But that was my goal. And so it was like, what can I do now? Where am I really at? Speed walking. That was where I was really at, speed walking. So that's where I started. And because I started, then I got, all right, I can speed walk like a champion, right? I was cruising along. And then I was like, okay, I'm ready for a jog. And then now I'm ready to jog longer and I can do longer intervals. And then, okay, now I can go 5 minutes and 10 minutes and 20 and 30, right? But it was all about acknowledging here's where I'm at and here's where I'm going to start. And I'm going to start and I'm going to work forward, right? And so I reached that goal. I was successful, I ended up running a half marathon. That was huge for me. But it was because I didn't judge where I was at. I didn't get overwhelmed at the whole goal. I was like, okay, where am I at now? That's where we're going to start. We're going to do what I can do now. And then again, I could build on that, right? So think about a goal that you have. Think about something that you're working towards. I'm gonna start, right? The only place I'm gonna start is where I'm at. I hope that was helpful for y'all. If you have any questions, thoughts, concerns, I'd love to know what you think about this. Like, is this ever something that kind of holds you back? Do you ever feel a little overwhelmed by a goal because it feels too big, it feels too far, you don't have the time, the energy, the resources, the knowledge, right? All the things. And let me know if this is helpful for y'all. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.